So what's up, guys? We can go ahead and start our next training session. So this is our second training session of the day. I really enjoyed the last one. So in the last one, we kind of decided that we'd spend a little bit of time and just go through and talk a little bit about the basics of chatbots and the basics of mini chat. So um, we will go in and actually do that. I'm still going to leave it open to you guys if you want to have any type of QA. If there's any specific things that you want to go over, you can just dump those in the chat for now. But before we go in and actually talk about the basics, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually go in somewhere where I've actually edited this. So in the last training session, I gave you guys one of these and just ask you to click on that link so that I could do some accounting to see, who else came to what session so that I can get a feel to see some demographics as far as who's told me that they were going to come to a session versus who's actually subscribed and came to the session. So I'm just going to edit this guy. I'm just going to edit this guy right here to say that you attended session 1.2, which is this session right here. And then I also added another little call to action that if you guys feel so obliged to leave me a view on social media, if you want to leave a review, you can do that. I also updated this guy right here where you can leave a comment on the second post. I'm going to ask you guys to do that after every training session. I'm going to ask you guys to actually go in if you could spend a little bit of your time. Obviously, I'm giving you a lot of my time, and you guys are giving me a lot of your time by coming to these sessions. And if there's not so much to ask, you can just go into these posts and just leave a comment, just, your honest opinion of how the training session was, if you learned anything, if it provided you some value. So I'm going to go in and actually edit that guy. I'm going to publish this guy right here, or girl, or transgender, whatever you want to call those things. And then we'll go back to our growth tools and we'll look at this thing right here. And then we'll copy that, and then I'll drop that right into the chat here so that you guys can go in and see that. Hey, Rocky, what's going on, Rocky? So you're muted, by the way, Rocky. So just so you guys know, this guy that you're seeing right here on camera, that's Rocky. And he's our guest speaker for our last day of training. If you guys remember that this week right here, so even though this is kind of ad hoc training and we're going in and we're doing whatever it is that you guys really want to do, this week right here is really dedicated for the most part from my side into teaching you guys how to go in and actually set up your bot agency and how to offer bots as a service, how to acquire clients, how to find clients, how to prospect clients, how to win clients and sell to clients. And this man right here, Rocky, he's going to have a great aspect to play in that because he's got this guest session here where this guy is a sales guru where he will help you with your actual sales and everything. And how to actually do your sales and how to have calls and how to do all your good sales stuff. So this is his session right here. I believe this is your session, right? Does this sound right, Rocky? The 30th,
So.
2 p.m. to 4 p.m. That sounds like what you signed up for?
Yep.
So you guys can find him on that session. If you guys want to spend a little bit of time asking him any type of question, then feel free to go ahead and do that while he's here. You can dump them all in the chat and he can respond to them while he's here. And then once I go through this overview of all the basic things of the bot, then if you guys would rather spend your time, because you guys will get plenty of access to me, trust me, you'll find out really soon at the end of this day that I'm going to open up a lot more additional slots. You guys will have full access to me. So if you want to go in and spend some more of that time while we're on this session today with him while he's actually here, then I have no problem if that's what you guys want to do. Because this, honestly, guys, this whole session is these whole training sessions are for you guys to get the most value out of everything. So that being said, I gave you the link in the chat. So if you guys could definitely click on that link just so I can do some accounting to make sure that you guys are here. And we'll just jump right in. And like I said, if you have questions for Rocky, just put them in the chat and then he can go over them. And then once I get done with this little part, if he wants to, I can open everything up for Q&A and you guys can just go in and engage with him because like I said, you'll have plenty of access to me and his time is going to be limited. So here, just to give you the basic overview, I'm assuming everybody knows what a chatbot is. If you don't know what a chatbot is, I'll give you like a 30-second overview, it's a fucking awesome thing. So it's just this awesome piece of software that allows us to do a lot of automation. So it allows us to engage with our users. It allows us to auto respond to their questions based on keywords that we assume that we're going to get in their questions. We can go in, and if somebody asks us about our pricing or our portfolio, or ask us about a specific product, or ask us this or that, these general questions that we're getting every day, we can go and set up these responses and our keywords over here, and then have some contents that just go in and respond out to those to kind of automate our customer service. So it lets us do a lot of other things as well. It lets us go in and simulate growth and basically build a list, and basically instead of having our email list, now have a Facebook Messenger list so that we can build our contacts up. And instead of sending out a broadcast through email, send out the broadcast in Messenger, because we're more likely to get users to respond to those messages than emails. Okay, so just to kind of run through everything in here, the very first thing that you would ever want to do whenever you set up your bot is you would want to come right in here to this greeting text, and you would want to set up this greeting text. So you can see how it looks here. You're going to get this greeting text right here. That's the very first thing that you're ever going to want to do in your bot. So I'll show you what mine looks like on this demo bot. So just looks like that, just like you saw before. So that's the very first thing you want to go in. This is obviously the very first interaction that somebody's going to have with your bot, unless they go through one of these tools that we're going to talk about here. Unless they go through one of those tools, the very first interaction that somebody has with your bot, if they go through organically, is going to be to see this screen right here. They're going to see this little image up here, which is this image. They're going to see this guy, which is this image. And then they are going to see that screen that now has disappeared because somebody did something to which I need to be aware of. They're going to see this screen, and they're going to see this get started message. So that's going to be the very first thing that they're going to see. Now, after that, the very first thing that they're going to see, like I said, unless they go through one of these growth tools that we are going to talk about in this quick session, unless they come through one of these growth tools, the very first thing that they're going to see is that screen that I just showed you. They're going to see this screen. They're going to have this option to get started. And if they click that get started option, they're going to go to this welcome message. So maybe mine looks a little complex, and it's not complex at all. My welcome message just tells you I'm a demo bot. There's a bunch of stuff that I can do. Here's a bunch of different things that I can do right here, call to actions that you can mash on. And if you mash on those guys, most of those guys, if you mash on them, they take you to another generic flow, because as you'll learn in this training, part of your best practices is to go in and create these generic flows so that you can reuse them over and over. If I ever want to show you how to look up a spreadsheet lookup, well, guess what? I can just reference this generic flow. If I ever want to show you how to do math in your bot, I reference that guy. If I ever want to show you how to text a US phone number, if you want to send a text message out from your bot, then you just go to that flow right there. If you want to get the weather, shorten URL, even if you want to post a photo or a picture to my page, which you can see on my page, here's a really cool photo that was, it was posted by Fastu Rio. I think that's how I say his name. Here's a bunch of other photos that were posted by other people to my page, because one of the functions of the bot is you could just post pictures to my page, or you can even change my profile image. If you want to change my profile image, the bot will allow you to do that. So we can do some really cool stuff. So the first thing that user sees is going to be this get started message. Unless they go through one of those other growth tools, they're going to click on that, and they're going to now be presented with this content that's in your welcome message. All right. So now they're presented with this content. Another best practice that I would tell you guys is you want to have this lean philosophy where you want to match your content delivery time with your consumer's content consumption rate. So you do not want to dump off 20 pieces of content or an obnoxiously long piece of content and then go away. You want to drop off enough content that is not going to cause a user to have to scroll up and down. If the user has to scroll up and down, you're creating too much interaction for them, not a great user experience. You don't want your piece of contents to be more than an entire screen, because if you do that, a user now has to actually go in and do some more interaction, which is not so easy for them. I mean, it is pretty easy, but not if you're a lazy ass, right? If you're a lazy ass, not so easy. You don't want to do that. So you want to cater to all those lazy people, because if you cater to those, the non-lazy people are going to really, really love you because you've made their experience really great. So you don't want to give these huge pieces of content. Later on in these training sessions, we'll have lots of time where you guys can dump in the links to your bots, and I'll go in and look at them and tell you what's great, what sucks, and we can go in and live on the training sessions, we can go in and modify those. But like I said, a great practice that you really want to have is you want to match the rate at which you're delivering content with at the minimum with the rate that a user is consuming that content. Now, I think from my personal appearance, I think that you're actually a little better off if you give a little additional delay. Meaning if it's going to take you 5 seconds to consume my content, I'm going to wait some 6 or 7 seconds to deliver you the next piece of content so that I can create this short little anticipation, right? Now you're sitting there waiting, like, what else is he going to say? When am I going to get my next message? So I've created this little anticipation. And also I know that as my sales tactic, okay? Now, Rocky's a sales guy and he can probably attest to this. I know as my sales tactic that I am most likely going to have a higher conversion rate of actually selling you if I can get you to spend time with me. The more time that I can get you to invest with me, the more likely you are going to buy from me, because the more valuable I appear to you, because you value your time. And if I get you to consume that time with me, you're going to value me. So for that reason, I'm going to say you don't want to deliver content faster than a rate of consumption. You want to either match those guys equally, which is going to make you a truly lean bot, or you want to basically slow down your content delivery so it's slower than your content consumption. So you create a little bit of anticipation, and you also get this person to expend more time with you. The more time that he spends with you, the more valuable your content comes. So now you click that welcome message. As soon as you click that welcome message, you're delivered this content. So one of the things that I see a lot is you guys you have this massive, huge message, or you have like 20 messages and you're just like, boom, 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 deliver them off. Well, I couldn't read any of those. Now I see all the messages that you want to give me, and I know I don't want to read all that shit, so I'm just going to go somewhere else. You're much better off to deliver little small pieces of content. Let me consume those, and then keep giving me more content as I actually consume those. And then when you're done giving me that content, you really want to make sure that you give me some call to action. So if you've delivered me a bunch of content and then there's no call to action, I don't know what to do. I'm not really clear what to do. I can mash in some message. Are you prepared to deal with every message that a user might mash in? Probably not, because in these bots, we don't have any type of AI learning algorithm unless we go and implement a rudimentary one, which I will teach you how to do, but we don't have that out of the bat like we would with a complex bot like we would build. All right. So unless you've just spent a massive amount of time going in and compiling every possible permutation of a way that somebody could ask you something that relates to your business, you are not going to be able to handle every mash of a message that somebody can send you, which is why you want to have these call to actions, whether they're buttons or whether they're quick replies or whether they're questions getting user input. You need to have some way to get the user and drive their interaction. If you leave it up to the user and you say, hey, I've delivered you a bunch of content, I hope you interact with me. Well, great, but you are leaving money on the table. What you want to do is you want to drive that user to an interaction by giving them some call to action. If there's no call to action, he don't know what to do. So he's just either going to leave or he's going to do something unexpected that doesn't help you. If you're there delivering a bunch of content to this guy, now he doesn't have a call to action, so he starts literally live chatting with you and you haven't set up your bot properly. Guess what? You are much better off not even ever engaging with that person in the first place than engaging with him, having a conversation with him, leaving him dead in the water. If you don't engage with him in the first place, great. Next time you can go after him, maybe you can engage with him. If you engage with him, now you physically get him to engage back with you and you're not there, you've disappeared. Well, most likely you're going to lose a sale because he's going to start to get frustrated that, look, I'm trying to talk to you. You're not there. You was just there a minute ago giving me 15 pieces of content. You just, blasted me out with 700 words worth of content. Now I'm asking you questions. Where are you at? You're gone. You don't want to talk to me. I'm no value. I'm not valuable to you. So he's going to go on to the next guy. And who's he going to buy from, Rocky? The first person that actually convinces him that they have a value, right? The first person that he can talk to that's there for him, right? So if I'm not there for them, he doesn't know what value I have. So definitely give him some call to actions, and don't just leave him dead in your bot. You want to give him something. So so now we've covered that greeting text. That's the first thing that they're going to see. Now, if they mash that get started button, they're going to see this welcome message. So we kind of covered that welcome message, let you know that you need to make sure that you break these contents up into consumable pieces, and you need to deliver these contents at a rate that your user can actually consume them, and not a faster rate. Never a faster rate. If you go in and do that, just not a good practice, okay? And then give him some clear call to actions. Now, the next most important thing that we have here is our default reply. This default reply is our catch-all for whenever a user doesn't do what we expect them to do or doesn't do what we want them to do. We really want them just mashing buttons, right? We don't, because that's easy for them. If they just mashing buttons, that's pretty easy for them. Now, they can't always be mashing buttons. Sometimes we want to get some input from them, but even that input, you'll find that if we can find a way to keep them from typing and just have them mash a button, we can control what input that we're getting from them, which makes our conditional logic and checking the values of those input. It makes it so much easier, because now if we leave it up to the user to give us some textual input and type it in, it's going to take literally an engineer like me to go in and foresee all the different possible combinations of the input that guy could actually give me to satisfy it. And natural language processing, what it's called an utterance. So in natural language processing, what you have intents. Somebody wants to know what your business hours are. That is an intent. Now you have utterances. Utterances are expressions in natural languages where a user could go in and physically ask you, what time are you open? When do you close? What are your business hours? What are your hours of operation? All of those things are utterances that invoke the same intent of a user wanting to get your actual business hours. So now if we just allow the user to type in, when are your business hours? And we're getting that input as a response to some question, then if we want to write some conditional logic to go in and perform some actions based on his response. If we take that free text input, then we really have to use, even me as a super genius, I have to use my brain to begin to start to think of what are all the possibilities of the ways that the user could give me input so I can check my conditions accordingly. So if I eliminate that and I just go in and give him clear call to actions, little buttons that he can hit, well then the input is static. The input is predefined. So my conditions become really, really easy to make because I know what inputs he could give me. I don't have to try to guess, well, what could he give me? I already know. He can give me one of these 5 things, so that's great. I make 5 conditions. End of story. I've satisfied all conditions. All right. So this default reply is what handles anything unexpected. So a user goes in and asks us some question. We don't actually understand that. We don't have any of these keywords that we're about to talk about. We don't have any of those keywords set up. Our default reply handles that. So in my best practice, what we do in a default reply is the very first thing for me that I do in a default reply is I want to open up a conversation. I want to notify admins, okay? So on that opening up a conversation, all right, in here in MiniChat, we have this concept of live chat, okay? So I can see here are people right here that have entered into my default reply block, most likely, or maybe a couple other blocks, because there's a couple other blocks that have an action where I want to get notified that they did this particular thing. Like, for example, if you tell me that you need a bot and you tell me that you have a budget that is greater than $5,000, I want to get notified because I want to talk to you because you've got a budget greater than $5,000, and I don't want you waiting there, you know, saying, hey, I got this bot. I want a bot. I got a budget of over $5,000. And then 3 days later, I go in and find that message, and I'm like, hey, did you ever find somebody to build your bot? Because if you're looking to build a bot and you've got a budget and you want to do it, Probably like most people, you're not going to reach out to one person and then wait until you die for them to hear back. Probably you're going to be looking for people, and you're going to deal with the first person that impresses you and convinces you that can actually talk to you. And if it's not me, it's going to be somebody else. So if you come in and say, hey, I need a bot and I've got a budget that's more than $5,000, I want to get notified, because I want to get a notification so that I can stop what I'm doing and I can go in and I can start talking to you. So I'm going to notify myself. I'm going to open up a conversation. So what you really want in this conversations tab is you want to go in here to your settings in your live chat, and you want to make sure that this option is checked right here. Conversations should be opened explicitly. Live chat thread can be started explicitly by admin or by special action you can attach to any button. That is what I'm doing here, okay? I am opening a conversation in this action. You've triggered my default reply. My bot doesn't know what to do with you. So I've triggered this default reply. Well, what's the first thing I want to do? I want to open up a conversation, and then I want to send myself a notification so I can come right in here. And in here are somewhere in here, and these live chats are only the people I need to have a conversation with. And here's DeWid, and DeWid, I'm pretty sure that's how you say your name. It looks like there's a W there, so I'm just going to say DeWid because it looks like a duh and then a wa-id. So if I'm not saying it right, I'm sorry. But I can see this guy right here. I can see a bunch of information about him. I can see that this guy is planning on coming to all our training sessions. So hopefully he's here right now, because I can see that he's told me he's going to come to all our training sessions. I can see that he's already attended this training session, where I know that actually what I need to do is I need to come in here and I need to actually do something, and you guys can benefit from seeing me do that. So what I need to do in here is I actually need to come in and filter all these guys, and I need to filter by a tag, where it's this tag right here, and I need to find you guys because you are tagged 0.51, and you don't need to be tagged 0.51. You actually need to be tagged attended. You need to be tagged attended 1.1 is what you need to be tagged. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to tag all you guys. I'm going to tag you 23 people with the correct tag instead of the wrong tag. And then I'm going to come in here and I'm going to do a bulk action, and I'm going to remove a tag, and I'm going to remove that wrong tag. Well, first, let me just go in and make sure I see that you guys have all been tagged correctly there. So now that you've been tagged correctly, I'm going to remove that wrong tag. So you can always do that. That's really easy stuff for you to do. So back to that live chat. I can see all the useful information about this guy, all the tags that I have him. I can see how he actually subscribed. I can see that he said that he did not actually, and see, this is why that live chat is good, okay? Because without this live chat, trust me, I come back over here, and here's my message history of people interacting with my bot. Literally. Now, lucky for me, he's the very last guy, and I don't have 100,000 subscribers on this page that are constantly interacting with my bot. If I did, or if I was sending out a promotional broadcast right now, I would never be able to find this guy, because this would just be constantly changing, showing all the new messages, all the interactions with my bot. I would never find anybody here. So the only way I can really find somebody to deal with them is by coming over here in this live chat. Now I can see that this guy's telling me, hey, I didn't receive a link. So I can say, so sorry about that, because this requires my attention. We've already started and are actually talking about you and really missing you. You can join here. So now I'll just go in and send him that out so he can actually join, because he's actually missing that. He's missing that link, he said. But you can see how useful this is. So this guy has actually triggered my default reply. And now I've went in and actually opened up the conversation. So I can see here he's triggered my default reply, right? So here he's triggered my default reply. And I know he's triggered my default reply because look at my default reply. The very first thing I do is say, I'm sorry, I didn't actually understand you. Would you like to help make me smarter? And there he's got that message right there because he triggered my default reply. And he said yes, all right? Now, now I've asked him, can you tell me the exact message? This is what I'm actually looking for. I'm looking for this message. And this is probably an issue with my content where I'm not getting this actual message from him. But this is the message that I'm wanting him to actually give me. But I asked him, can you tell me the exact message that you sent me that caused me to say I didn't actually understand you? This will make me smarter so that next time I understand. What's actually happened whenever he's done that is, I know here that what I've done is he's went through this flow, okay? So he answered yes. He got that message. He sent this. I said, thank you so much. He asked, by the way, how are you feeling? I asked him, by the way, how are you feeling today? He didn't even answer that. He said this arbitrary thing. And I said, is there anything I can do to make your day better? So how did all that happen? Well, he went in this default reply. I sent him this message. He said yes. Since he said yes, I asked him for this message. I got some input from him, okay? This input that I got is his unanswered question. This is the unanswered question. He's asked me something or he's given me some message. I haven't been able to answer it. That's why he's went in my default reply. So I've just stuck his question in a variable so I can come back and deal with it later, all right? Now, I've also tagged him that he needs attention. He needs my attention, so I can easily go in and find everybody that needs my attention. And when I give him that attention, I can remove that tag. All right. And then I've also triggered a zap called Make Bot Smarter. Because, I mean, don't we all want our bots to be smarter? Obviously we do, right? So all that zap does is literally takes this data right here and it puts it into this spreadsheet right here. Okay. So now it goes into this spreadsheet. So now I can go in and see, hey, I've got people asking me about a link and they don't got a link. So what could I do? I could just go in, I could make my bot smarter and I can come in here to my automation. I could come in here to my keywords. I could make a new rule that says message contains link. And if message contains link, what I want to actually do is I want to copy this URL and I want to go in and actually, to follow best practice, I want to go in and create a new piece of content called training link. And I'll create that. And I'll just tell him, I think you are looking for the link to training. Am I right? So now I'm going to go into my flow builder and I'm going to give a couple options here where he can say, yes, I am, or he can say, no, something else. Okay, so now if he says, yes, I am, I can just come over here, create a new message. Cool. Sorry. Or, okay, great. Here's you can join the training by clicking the button below. And then I can just add a button here called join training. And then there's that. And if he says no, something else, what can I do? Well, guess what I'm going to do? I think I'll route him to my default reply. So now if he says no, something else, I can go in and route him in here. And I don't think that will actually be, I don't think that will actually be good to route him right there. So what I'll do, because I don't think that's going to make sense to him if I route him right there. So what I'll do instead is if I can find that piece of content, what I'll do is I'll just delete this guy and I'll just send him I'll just first trigger some action. And then after I trigger this action, I'll send him a message. And in this message, I'll just ask him, what can I help you with? I could do that. Or I think that's good enough. I can just ask him what I can help him with. And then I can come in here and I can open up a conversation and I can notify myself that this guy is probably going to want some other help, right? So now I can publish that. That's everything I need for that flow. So now I can come back over here to this link and I can go in and do that. So now I can come back to my spreadsheet and I just made my bot smarter. So now I can resolve these messages that have this link keyword in it that I wasn't resolving before. So now my bot got just a little bit smarter. Now, if anybody sends me a message that contains link, I can ask them, are you wanting the training link? And if they say, yeah, then I can be like, okay, what's that? What's that link? Here's that link. If they say no, I can ask them something else. And I could have went in here and actually grabbed this guy right here and deleted him. And then I could grab some user input and put that in there. And basically I could copy and paste what's happened right here. So I can come over here to this question and not that question. So come to this question right here and come in here and look, I'm putting this in unanswered question. And I am then triggering out needs attention, or I'm triggering this zap, make bot smarter. So I can just go in and actually do that, where now I can come in here and automatically continue to perform some actions. And then here I could put this in here, unanswered question, and I can trigger out this zap called make bot smarter so that I can make my bot a little bit smarter. And then I can be done with that. So now that's all done. All right. So now how did I figure out I needed to even create this? How did I know I even needed to create this flow? I didn't even know I needed this flow in my bot, but obviously I do need this flow in my bot. How did I know that? Because I'm handling that in my default reply. Because in my default reply, I'm not just going to send some stupid message that says, oh, we'll get back to you in 24 hours. I'm going to take that opportunity to try to, one, notify myself so that I can engage with that person, because if they want to buy something from me, I better go engage with them right now. The longer that I wait, the less likely I am to sell to them. Right, Rocky? I mean, if I just leave this guy waiting, how long is he going to wait before he's like, all right, let me try to talk to somebody else? If he's talking to me and somebody else that was making him wait now tries to talk to him, most of the time people aren't rude. They're just going to keep talking to me instead of talking to that other guy. And if I can sell him, he's just going to go with me. All right. But now if he has to wait on me and now I have to go in and tell him nothing, he's just waiting on me. Now he's talking to somebody else and now I want to come in and talk to him. Well, he's probably just going to ignore me while he's talking to somebody else. And while he's talking to that person, if they convince him to buy their product, he's going to go with them and not buy my thing. So in my flow, I want to notify myself. I want to go in and find out what he's telling me. I want to try to make my bot a little bit smarter. And then I always do this. I always try to end a flow just like this, where after I get that information that I want, I just literally ask you, how are you doing today? Are you having a good day? Are you having a bad day? And I take that input and I stick that into a variable called feeling today so that I can understand if you're feeling great, if you're feeling awesome, if you're feeling good, then you're more likely to respond to this offer that I'm going to send you. If you're feeling bad because your wife just left you and I say, hey, would you like to buy this from me? Unless it's like some ironclad prenup that is going to work before, predated to your marriage, you probably ain't going to buy nothing. You're probably just going to be upset that your wife left you. Or if you're just having a bad day, you're probably not going to respond very well to my offers. So I want to be able to conditionally check against that and look and see if you're willing to give me your mood and how you're feeling today. I want to use that whenever I'm broadcasting out to you. And if you're not in a good mood, I don't want to send you an offer because I don't think that you're going to actually convert on it in the first place. So I'm going to go in and collect that information. And then after I collect that information, I'm going to go in and I'm going to run you through this block right here, which is nothing complex right here. Here, I just look and see if you're feeling great. I respond to that. If you're feeling tired, I tell you to go to bed. If you're busy, I tell you to build a bot or to hire somebody from my company to alleviate that. If you're feeling crappy, I try to give you some motivation. So I just go in and conditionally check how you're feeling. And then I respond back to that because one, that makes it feel like you're having a more engaged, personalized conversation than just having some asshole let his robot and you're not even worth my time to talk to. I'm just going to let my robot deal with you. Well, I'm going to let my robot deal with you, but I'm going to make my robot be a little bit more personal and talk to you a little bit more personally. Okay. So now I think you got the point. What we've went over is all the really, really basic things that you need in your bot. The basic thing that you need is you need this guy. Okay. You got to have this guy, because if not, nobody knows about your bot. And a lot of people, when they get to that initial screen, they're not going to engage with your bot unless they know a little bit of information about it. So you need to give them a little bit of information. So we went over that guy. We've talked about your welcome message. We've went in and looked at my welcome message and talked about how you actually need to deliver content and how you need to match your content delivery with at least the minimum rate of content consumption, or have a little bit delay and give your content delivery at a little later, at a little slower speed than at which it's being consumed. That way you're creating a little bit of anticipation. Make sure you're giving some call to actions in your welcome message, so that you just don't deliver content and then drop people off and then nothing happens whatsoever, and now there's no more engagement. We talked about that thing right there, your default reply. So we talked about that. The other main aspect is this main menu here. So your main menu is what's going to show up right over here. Pretty common, this hamburger menu. Everybody on the internet recognizes this hamburger menu as a menu. So if you don't recognize this as a menu, you don't internet very much. You don't have a mobile device. You've never been on a website on a mobile device. If you have been, then it's pretty common knowledge. This is a standard React Native component that this is a menu. So everybody knows this is a menu. So they see it and they're like, oh, great, a menu. They click on it. Boom, there's your menu right there. So we talked a little bit in the last session what should be in this menu, how complex should this menu be, or how elaborate should this menu be. And like I said, that's completely up to you. It can be up to 15 pieces of content is what can be here. But like I said earlier, it only needs to be as complex as necessary. No more, no less. You need to serve your purpose. Biggest pain points, biggest call to actions, biggest things you really want to trigger from your users, put it in here so they can easily access it. If they need to call you and that's how you do all your sales, you don't ever sell somebody until they get on the phone, then put a call to action here, call me, so that they can easily call you. All right, stuff like that. So that menu is pretty straightforward. You just come in here and you come in somewhere right here, and then you can edit this menu. I need to actually, and I don't actually even know what's going on in here. This is something going on with ManyChat, that if you look at my menu, for some reason it says new thing, and there is no new thing. So I don't know what they're going on. I'm just going to update this. So I'm going to update it and then recheck. And I think maybe I added some new thing in some training, and then I just never updated my main menu. So it's stuck inside there. So now he's gone, and that was the actual case. So if you're seeing something that's there that shouldn't be there, just go in and update your main menu. So that's your main menu, and this is pretty straightforward. Your main menu is pretty straightforward. You can go in and either open up a sub menu, and if you open up a sub menu, you get, it tells you right here, top level menu is limited to 3 items max. Sub menus are limited to 5, which means 3 times 5 is 15. You can have a total of 15 sub menus here. You're gonna have 3 menus, and then each of those guys can have 5 things. And then each of those guys, you can either, you cannot open a sub menu in a sub menu. So that's not allowed, all right? But you can go in and reply with a message or open up a website. So you can either reply with a message, and you can go ahead and send them one of your flows already, which is most of what I actually do. Like right here, if you look, I reply with a message. The message that I send is a generic flow that I have called join the training. So I use that flow for several other places as well. And I'm just going to reference it in my menu, because that's one of the big things I want my users to do in this bot, is I want them to sign up to this training. So I'm going to have a call to action in my menu to allow them to quickly go in and get to that join the training flow, so that they can do what essentially I want them to do very easily at any time of the day, any day of the week. So that's pretty straightforward on your main menu, right? Make sure that you go in and actually update it. Also, one thing that you guys really need to make sure that you understand, is that a lot of these components, they have a little enable, disable thing here. So as you can see, when I update this guy, now he's updated. If I go back to him, he's got this little disabled, enabled guy. So does this default reply. He's got that guy. So does this welcome message. He's got that guy. Now, I see a lot of people, they go in and build this, and then it doesn't work. And they're like, oh, God, how do I do this? Oh, God, how do I do this? Oh, God, this doesn't work. Why doesn't this work? Well, a lot of times it's because you have this disabled. If it is disabled, it will not work. So just make sure you enable it. So those things all have that. And so do some of your growth tools. So some of your growth tools as well, they have those as well. Some of your growth tools, they have an enabled, a disabled section. All right. So that pretty much there sums up all the real basic necessities that you should make sure that your bot has. Now, after those things are all taken care of, then you want to have these keywords, you want to have these sequences, and you definitely want to have a lot of these growth tools here. So these keywords are pretty straightforward, right? Somebody is going to send you a message where the bot is going to basically read that message for you and look in to see, does this message contain horoscope? If so, then I want to send him out their horoscope. So in order to get their horoscope, I need to find their a bunch of information, and then I can go in and look up their horoscope and deliver their horoscope, which we built in one of the live trainings. But if the message is class schedule, obviously a big difference between is and contains. So if I was to change this obviously to is, then if somebody said, could you deliver me my horoscope? The bot would not do anything. All right. Because that message is not horoscope. So if I want the bot to fire whenever somebody says, can you deliver me my horoscope? Then it would need to say contains instead of is. So is just means the message must be equal. Contains means I can find that keyword anywhere inside the message. And then begins with should be pretty intuitive as well, that the message must begin with that thing. So keywords are pretty straightforward. You can go in and add as many keywords as you want. You can keep adding them just by commas, separate them by commas, then go in and save it. And then here you can go in and send a particular message. And then you can also add a particular action whenever somebody fires this, okay? So you can add that action here, or you can add it inside your bot as your very first step that happens as your starting step. Doesn't really matter. The only time that it actually matters is you can have a keyword with no message at all that only triggers an action. So you can have a keyword that doesn't deliver any message. It only delivers an action. So if you do that, that's the point that you would want to add this action here. Other than that, if you have a keyword that doesn't deliver a message, then you need to add your action here. If you have a keyword that is going to deliver a message, I would just always recommend that those actions that you want to do, you make as the first step of your message so that you can easily go in and see whenever you're looking at that message that action's been fired, and you don't have to go back and forth between looking at the message flow and then coming back to the keyword to try to understand where is this action being fired at. It's always in some standardized place. If you guys can actually begin to go in and standardize the way that you build things, you'll find that you'll really get really, really optimal time building things. So I could talk forever about bots, guys. But we do have Rocky here, and we got just a few minutes left. And I know a lot of you guys wanted to talk about Rocky. So, Rocky, buddy, you're up.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Good, man.
All right. Now I'm hearing you guys. You guys have any questions for me, or should I just open up with a general statement? What do you think, John?
Can you just tell us what you do so we know what we can ask?
There we go. Well, hey, I'll give you a general understanding of what I do. I specialize in moving units of a product, much like all of us do in some capacity. And as you can see, John's software is absolutely amazing for our personal businesses for all of the reasons that we're starting to find out. But in terms of being able to sell it in a package to a consumer, if you're doing B2B, you know, some of my best general advice would be believe in the product. When you know that you need this and you believe that the consumer absolutely has to have this, they must have it, then you're going to be focused on showing them what what they could lose by not having this versus setting up your strategy to explain what they could gain. People are more motivated by the loss of something than by the gain of something. And when everybody's working very hard to create brand equity, explaining to them how this is a crucial bridge in between how that they're interacting on a large scale with their potential consumers, or they're building their relationship of their brand, and how it like John explained earlier, if you don't have this bot set up right, you can really frustrate people. And I personally have experience with this, and I've sent a message to an individual and said, listen, I won't do business with you now because of this should have been more organic. So, when you can explain to people their pain point, if you can help people voice their own pain points and then simply use the information that they give you to give them the solution, it's going to be the easiest time for you in a sales process. Let me explain. The best thing that you can do in sales is not be a salesperson. Okay, you want to be a solution guy. You want to ask loaded questions, kind of like a lawyer would ask when putting somebody else on the stand. When you know the answers to these questions, then you can you have predictable transitions. You would be able to control the flow. The best way that you're going to be able to make this entire process easy, of course, is to do it a whole lot. When you can get a lot of feedback, then you're going to understand why people aren't buying. But oftentimes we're not illustrating the problem before we give the solution. If you just go into a business and you say, I have a solution to something, but they haven't felt the problem, then you're going to come off as a salesman, and you're going to get a lot of no's versus getting mostly yeses.
So just for my input, Rocky, that was great, but I'm not sure if the audience knows exactly what you do and are very, very understanding of what types of shit they should be asking you, or what types of questions they should be asking you that you're really good at. So I tried to explain to them that you're really heavy into sales, and that is your thing, that your whole thing is into sales. So maybe you can kind of give them a couple of examples of things you could really help them with as it pertains to their bots.
In terms of how to sell their bots?
Not necessarily in terms of how to sell their bots, but I mean, because a lot of people may not even want to sell their bots. They just want to sell shit inside their bots. They want to deliver content. They want to do stuff inside their bot. So how could you really actually help them?
Really, if you put yourself in the consumer's shoes, really step back and look at everything and consume it yourself. Every way that your bot responds, it seems almost obvious that you would automatically put yourself in the shoes, but talk to your grandma through these bots. Honestly, if you can, you're making something inorganic, try to really give off an organic feeling here. So if you can be detailed and maybe have some typos even in your bot, or asking questions. Asking questions is probably going to be the greatest bullet in your arsenal, because it allows the individual to engage, and it really lets you understand where they're exactly at to know where to take them from. So questions is probably the number one thing that I would say to try to integrate more than anything into these bots if you can, from my outside perspective.
So as you guys can see, Rocky's not a bot expert, but what he's really good at is sales. So his thing is sales. He is not a bot expert. His thing is sales. So if you guys have questions on sales, or why you're not getting sales, or how you should open up a conversation, or what you should be doing in your first conversation, or how many conversations you should be having, or at what point you should just tell somebody to get lost because they're no longer a good lead, how you should nurture that lead, how you should do your whole sales process, then what you need to do is you need to query him. And then how does that relate to your bot? Well, we'll take that information, and then we'll look together, take that information, and figure out how to take all the content that he's given us about how we should be effective salespeople, and how we can effectively get people to buy into us, either buy into our brand or buy into our product, and how we can translate that through the bot itself.
Hey, Rocky, this is Craig. Can you hear me?
Can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. Okay. So I'm a distributor of probably widely known concept of I've fallen and can't get up, medical device type. Life Alert started that company. They put their feet in the water. The electronic caregiver, the company I have, became Michael Phelps. So basically, the need is there for seniors, disabled, juvenile diabetics, and female college students who are away from home. So it can act both as a medical device. At what point and how deep do you go? Because we all can, figure out what the loss of something's going to be in those particular cases. But where do you draw the line between scaring the heck out of somebody and, giving them a solution to a possible, if not probable, scenario where this could actually save a life?
Absolutely. So the two things that come right off the top of my head are, number one, you need to scare them, and they need to feel scared. They need to actually feel the problem. They can't, if you were to go into, let's say, if you were trying to sell life insurance,
right,
everybody knows what it's for and what it's trying to prevent. But at the table, people don't buy because the salesman doesn't help them feel the problem. So how to help the person feel the problem is really asking specific questions about the reality of their situation and let them feel that pain. You have to give them 4 good moments to feel the problem that you're about to rescue them out of before you rescue them out of it. But you do need to put them in a situation where they feel this is my problem, because if they don't feel that problem first, it's going to be a hard sale. It can be the best product in the world, but if you can't have somebody engage with their own feeling, they're not going to value the solution and see it as a necessity.
Okay.
Not luxury.
Right. And I like the analogy with life insurance because I've done that in my life too, where, it is a necessity. People are going to die. Typically they're going to leave somebody behind that is economically dependent on them. And it's a good device to have in order to alleviate a problem, much like this medical device is, because we saved a life this week. I mean, I've got a testimony from the client's daughter on how if we hadn't have, gotten together, if I hadn't have shown them a solution to a problem that she had, was she'd go off to work every day and worry about mom all day until she got home. Mom fell while she was at work, and within 20 minutes, EMS was there. So, it was, and she's got 2 black eyes and a broken nose and a big goose egg on her head and everything else, but she's alive.
Wow.
Yeah, there's, I thank you for encouraging me with that, because, sometimes I get to the point where, these are viable statistics, not just mine, but from all over. That people fall, that there's a certain percentage of falling, and if you get to them within a certain number of hours, they're going to have a better, survival rate and all these sorts of things. So, okay, thank you.
Absolutely.
So don't forget, guys, to comment on this post if you get a minute. It's in that link. Make sure you click that link just once. You can click it multiple times, really, if you want to, because all it does is add a tag on. We got just a few minutes left. Like I said, I'm going to really try to strictly adhere to our training schedule. That way, that way I'm not super tired whenever I do the next one, and things don't get overburdening. So we've got just a few more minutes here. Rocky's our sales guy. Like I said, he's going to be here on this session right here. So this whole week right here, these entire sessions, it's going to be kind of mostly like we typically do in sessions. Is I'm going to try to really open it up to you guys and do exactly what you guys want to do. That's going to give you guys the most value during the sessions so that you guys can learn exactly what you want. But if you guys aren't interacting, and plus I've had a couple people give me some suggestions on a better way to actually do these things. And what we're going to do in the first week is we're going to actually, this first day today is I'm thinking I'm going to hoping to be able to go in and while you guys are on the session, implement a couple flows that will teach you how to implement some kind of cool different flows, but will also help all of us during this training session because it will allow me to segment whether you're a noob or whether you're a mid ninja or whether you just have, you know, mid-level experience, whether you're trying to do this as a business, whether you're trying to do this for your business, what things you really want help with. So I'll go in and segment you guys like that so that we could go in and I can make sure that you guys are getting the right value, and we can have specific sessions that are just for noobs so no offense in being a noob, you got to start somewhere. So even if you are a noob, congratulations there. You're much farther off than a lot of other people who don't even know what's going on there. So don't feel bad about that. But so that we can group all you guys up, and then that session will be most valuable for you guys versus you guys trying to listen in on a bunch of expert level stuff like in my league of stuff that I'm trying to teach other people that are a lot more closer to ninjas, to show you guys how you can just do crazy stuff. Like we implemented a pretty cool survey the other day that we just did a bot hack. So we looked at somebody else's bot and we stole some ideal from their bot, and we just, you know, showed you exactly how to implement it. A little bit more complex was doing that. So if we got a group of people that want to do that, and they have some noob asking some really basic questions, it's not going to be so productive for them. So we'll try to go in and segment you out. And trust me, guys, you guys come to this 35 hours worth of training, and by that point, you don't feel like you're quite ninjas, man. I'll give you even more of my time, and I will make sure that if you give me your time, I will turn you into a bot building I'll turn you into a bot building motherfucker, but that would probably offend a lot of people. So I'm just not going to say it. I'm not going to say that at all. Trust me, I won't say that at all. I'm going to turn you into a bot building machine. Okay. So you just stick with me and we'll get you guys all to ninjas. So if there's anything quick that I can answer or go over for you guys, we got about 5 minutes. So, I'm all ears. I know I got a couple other things left on the simple side of things, and we'll get to that at the very beginning of the next session. I'll go through the other things that we didn't cover that still cover some of the really basic functionalities and the real basic features that we really need to know about ManyChat. So I still got probably another hour that I could talk about just the basic functionalities, and we will do that. We will do that on this session right here, because if you guys remember this next session, we got Matt coming back, and Matt's going to talk to us all about Facebook advertisement, how to do demographics, how to optimize, how to do this, and that. Anything that we want to know about ads, he's going to be there. I can spend some of my time going hand in hand with him, showing you how to, once you get an optimized ad and once you get a target audience and once you get everything set up, how to hook your bot into that ad, so we can go in and do that hand in hand. But that will be the next session. So this session here, we can come back and circle around and go back over all the other basic stuff that we didn't get to about ManyChat. So Rocky, do you have a sales resource training website service? You're muted.
There we go. Guys, if I had any suggestion for learning sales in terms of a specific platform, I couldn't give you a specific platform. You have to saturate yourself in anything that you want to be the best at. You must consume it day in and day out. So some names that you might look up would be Grant Cardone. Grant Cardone at the age of 59 owns about $500 million real estate.
And he is awesome, man. I've watched that dude live I've literally watched Grant Cardone live go in, and somebody struggling to make $1,000 sale, Grant Cardone just go in and take the phone from him and make a $20,000 sale, because he is that level of salesperson. That dude is awesome.
Man, you're just on the other side of knowledge. Knowledge is the only thing keeping you from being that next level up of a salesperson. So maybe guys like Andy Frisella or Russell Brunson, there's a lot of stuff you'll learn from all these guys that will accumulate and will sediment. But in terms of sales, you know, I might look at somebody like Gary Vaynerchuk and try to understand how they think. It's not the special sauce. It's not the ABC 1, 2, 3s. it's understanding how these people think and then and flexing that muscle, and you get your own muscle. There we go. And if you guys have any questions for me, you can reach me at rocky@film316.com.
Maybe if you just dump that in the chat, that will be more useful if you dump it in the chat. Then they can find you. And before this whole training session is done, there will be a flow that I will send you guys out where you guys can link up with any of our guest speakers that have come in. You'll be able to link up with them so that if you want to, because trust me, I'm not your sales guy. I'm not your marketing guy. I'm not your content guy. Now I could be all those guys and I could do that really good. But I would be, and even I would be better than most people, but I wouldn't be near as good as what I actually love to do, which is engineering and building stuff. So that's what I like to focus on. We will see you guys back in just a little bit. Remember, our next session is going to happen from this time right here, 2 to 4 p.m. We got Matt coming. So Matt's going to talk to us all about Facebook advertising, so we'll get to know all about that. And then we'll go through probably some practical examples with him. Hopefully he'll walk us through creating some ads. If not, I can do the walkthrough and he can just kind of guide me, and then we can link those up with your bot and everything. So goodbye, guys. See you in about an hour. All right.